Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eye Opener Society. My name is Gary Dean, and I want to welcome everybody back here. I want to thank everybody for being here, most importantly, because we have such a great time sharing our little thoughts with you. Welcome back to another Monday episode. Let me give a huge promotion to Appalachian Rootworks Rooted in Ruins, located in Cynthiana, Kentucky. I can't stop talking about them because they're such wonderful people. Listen, if you're looking for a metaphysical shop that has all the fun stuff, all the magical stuff, all the jewelry, all the clothing, all the herbs, all of the teas and soaps, I could go on and on. Visit them, Cynthiana, Kentucky. Or if you can't make it out there, you could visit their website, Appalachian Rootworks, Rooted in Ruins, and beyond the metaphysical shop and all the things you can buy. You can also get tons of services. They do everything from Reiki to energy clearings, and you don't have to go down to the shop for some of that, too. Most of it all can be done online. So check them out, AppalachianRootworks.com. I'm here, of course, with the Cosmic Fairy Princess Lizzie, and the other night I'm sitting outside because this is summertime and I know it gets hot, but once that sun goes down, humidity breaks slightly. I get to sit out on my back porch. Sometimes I light up a cigar and I just enjoy life. Now, yesterday, weather was pretty interesting because it was almost like fall because it wanted to rain, but it wouldn't. But I'm sitting outside and I'm watching the trees in the dark, and every now and then the wind would just pick up and start swirling. And you hear it and you feel nature going right through you from the wind and the sounds and just the absolute feeling that you get. This is my magic. There is something I want to try to express about it. It's this feeling that I get, and sometimes feelings just don't, do justice. I can't get the words out because it's just something that I feel. There's such a raw energy, such a raw power at times. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm in this complex, and not that I'm shy, but I would sit in the middle of the trees, and I'm also a little leery this time of year because of ticks, so that's why I also don't do it. But I would sit in the middle of the weeds while the wind is blowing, and I would be shouting out energetic, you know, affirmations or whatever comes across my mind. This is magic. This is what we play with. And I wanted to bring this up because magic is something different to everybody, but it's nice to sit and talk about it because everybody has their own different feelings for it. I really wanted to bring this up with our cosmic fairy princess Lizzie. Lizzie, I know you have a lot of experience in the whole Wicca and witchcraft and all that stuff. And magic is a great part of all these things. And just like you told me, you can talk all day about magic. So what's on your mind?
I mean, magic's kind of where everything started for me because I did stumble into all of this through Wicca, right? All those many years ago. And at the time, the way that I interpreted it was to find the magic all around you, know, the nature, the connection to the people, connection to the animals, all the places, magic exit crystals, all of that. But as time goes on, I really find that magic is more of a way of life. It's like a vibe, a choice of how you engage with something, more so than an actual action to take. Sometimes you can do the most like mundane, boring things, and it can be the most magical that you could experience.
I like that because what you said there is like, if we are just magical people and we just allow magic to happen rather than forcing it, and this is exactly what I'm trying to express what happened last night. I'm just sitting there. I wasn't even thinking about magic. But once that wind picked up, all of a sudden you start absorbing a different type of energy and you start to realize it and it manifests itself inside of you. And then you could just, it becomes part of you. And then you relate to that. And me, just simply because I am into the outdoors and nature and feeling, the elements upon me. Oh, it hit hard and it was beautiful. And like I said, it was such a raw, energetic feeling that I had. And it's so hard to verbally express it. So yeah, you definitely hit on a couple good points there.
Maybe it's the Libra in us because I've always connected deeply with the wind too, more so than like the sun. A lot of people connect to the sun and the moon, and I love both of them. But like, yeah, there's something about like stretching your arms out and just having the wind run through you. It's like almost makes you staticky.
That's a good way to put it. That's how I felt. I did feel very staticky and I felt very energetic, which kind of goes hand in hand because that static is electric. But you know, it's to a lot of people that practice, whether it be Wicca, witchcraft, or paganism or anything. I mean, we all understand magic, but magic, I guess, could be expressed in so many different ways, and depending on who knows about it or experiences it, because everybody's going to experience it maybe in a different way. I knew nothing about it, until I started to express my interest in paganism and I started learning more about the elements. And then suddenly it does, it awakens inside of you. Is that something that happened to you?
Yeah, pretty much. Saw the idea that life is magical and you're supposed to go out and look for it. And, when you look for a red car, you see a red car, right? And so I started seeing magic and just loveliness everywhere. And it's kind of interesting because what I would find magic in, how I would define it, all of these things change as life goes on. And I think it's really good to do that because to me, magic is always like something that is like beautifully energetic, like kind of full, right? And usually that's like a lot of movement. And so if you're having a lot of movement, then it can't really be the same all the time. Like I used to do these like really complicated moon rituals, right? And they were so much fun. And I just thought I would be doing them forever and I just would get better and cooler stuff to do them with. But now my anytime I do something with the moon, it's like me in a notebook and a glass of water I'm drinking, or something like so simple. But I wouldn't change all those many, many hours doing that because it was so deeply magical. Just now I just find it a little bit different, but neither one was like better than the other. And so it's like kind of just whatever makes you feel magical is just magical for you.
I um I like that too because yeah, we could sit and do the the most intense rituals, right? If we want to. And there are people that do it, specifically and very consistently. But yeah, magic can come and go because I could sit around all day and, not think about anything magical. And I just go about the day. And then somewhere, somehow, somewhere, just like last night, it hits you. And even though I wanted to be, or felt like I wanted to be very expressive about it, I didn't have to. I still experienced the same kind of energy that I would if I was being very energetic. So we could also talk about too, like actual rituals themselves. I myself never really done too much. I know my wife does a lot. She's been practicing rituals and I never really watch them. She's private, so she likes to do them in private, but I know when she's going to do them because she waits for either a full moon or for a new moon. And then she'll start asking me, oh, can you order me this supply sage or, I need this crystal or whatever. So I know she's about to practice something. Uh, and it's great. It's great to do it in private. Some people are very open about it too, as well. And I have no problem. It's like me. I don't care. I probably should have started yelling and shouting last night. I just didn't want anybody calling the cops on me because, thinking I'm a nutcase. But, this is sometimes the problem with being spiritual and being magical. We are sometimes looked at as crazy, but you know what? So be it, right?
Yeah, and I agree, so be it. Like, do your crazy thing. But I also think that whatever, like, if people are observing you, if you're gonna feel funny about it, it's gonna probably mess with whatever magic you're doing. So unless your magic is is like focused around getting used to being able to do magic around people. Like there's nothing wrong with just doing it privately or quietly. It's still going to mean just as much. It's just however you're going to do it. And if you can go out and do it, like if you could just shout, I feel like that would just add power because anybody observing you could then would add their energy. That's how celebrities do it, right? Is to get your attention and then or whatever, that's what they say. But I don't think that it you have to.
And, and to add to that too, which was funny, I just recently did my Saturday solo episode and I was talking about that. I said, when I'm outdoors, it's one whole feeling. And when you're outside and you become part of nature, the world, the universe, you start to shrink yourself a little bit more and more because you start realizing just how big the world is around you. And then when I'm done being outside and I come indoors, everything changes because now it's more of the private because now we got the four walls and we're in our little box, but we have our own things in here, our personal effects are indoors. And then we become much more connected to ourselves in that way. So there's two major differences between us going outside to inside. And this, I think, changes the magic too. Do you agree?
Oh, for sure. Like just one alone, if you're outside, you've got the wind blowing and the sun coming on, you've got a lot of change in the energy. Whereas if you're in your house, it's a little bit more stagnant. As well as a lot of people have a lot of emotional attachment to different things inside their house, or if they're inside a building, somewhere else, maybe it's back to being observed or whatever your energy changes no matter where you go. I think your field, what do they say? It's like 5 feet around you.
Mhm.
So anything that's field touches or is near your field, like changes your field. And so I think it makes a huge, huge difference just from changing like one room to another. That's a good way to get yourself out of like an emotional spiral. Just change location. It's really hard to panic at the same level in multiple locations.
Yeah. And here's a question. Individuals, let's say, because I know some people are highly magical, like they harness so much magic inside of them. And like you said, that 5 feet, you could probably extend that out probably as long, as far out as you want, depending on how much energy. So what is the best way to harness magic to the point where you get as much of it inside of you? Do you have any practices for that?
I mean, truly, it's just realizing you already have all of the power. I mean, I really firmly believe that, you're everywhere and everywhere. So, like, anything that all of that, like that is you. And so, as far as like your field going out further, I mean, if you're everything, your field is everywhere. If you want to be, you can be affected with everything. But that doesn't mean you have to be overwhelmed with it. A lot of nuances, but I'll get lost in thought if I try to even go into that right now. Me personally, what I find the most magical way to connect with yourself, to reclaim power, like whatever it is that you're doing, is to pay very close attention to how you're phrasing things. And one thing that I notice is a lot of people, by people I mean me, is I know how to be aware of something like when I articulate it, but putting it into practice is a little bit different. And so it's like you know that what you're about to say is your ego acknowledging these three things, right? And so you don't say it, you rephrase it. And that's fine, that's great to practice and like kind of retraining your brain on what to think instead. But if you watch that what popped up and you really pay attention to exactly how you phrased it, you can see everything that's kind of setting up for you. And so you can play with that. And then when you do make that other definition, really play with how you've worded everything. There's a lot of people who claim the words are spells. That's why we call it spelling. And I don't know if it's quite like as it like distinctly defined as that, but I do know that whenever you like make a decision or make a change or anything like that, self-express in any way, it puts something out into the universe. And I don't think the universe speaks English. So I don't think it really matters what words you use. But I do think that all the underlying definitions that you have about a word does change what it does for you. For example, the feeling so small outside, that was something that tripped me up a lot when I was little. It upset me so much when I think about how many people were just like lived on my street. And so, from that perspective, but if you redefine some of these things, if you think about it again, if you're everywhere, then it's not really that big. You are that big. Therefore, actually, the world is kind of small. And it like reframes it. I still panic about how big it is sometimes if I think about it too much, outer space particularly. But these are the things that I kind of play with in my head that kind of open up new things. And whenever I change these definitions, magic follows me in my life. So that tends to be my favorite like ritual.
I love that. There's a couple of points you made, and one, the whole power of spelling, and all. It was a concept that I was only recently kind of introduced to because, yeah, we self-depreciate ourselves sometimes in humor, and sometimes people just do that, but that is a spell, and it's a spell against you. And it took me a while to understand that, and I sometimes be careful of what I say. I kind of believe the same way you do. I don't read too deep into it. Like, I don't think the universe understands English, but it does understand spells and what you want, what you manifest. So if you keep saying something negative about yourself, that's coming right back at you. That's a spell. So I get exactly what you're saying. So if people just want to be mindful of their phrases and the way that they're saying things, because the one easiest trick is like when people are sick. People say, "Oh, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick." The more you say it, the more sicker you're getting. Instead of saying, "I'm healing, I'm recovering." Now things are changing. So it's just a way of rephrasing things. Um, and just the power of magic too in ourselves when we're talking about the size of the universe and just how insignificant. That's a good point too, because in our own minds, yeah, we can go outside and we can observe the universe, and we could either feel very insignificant, or we could use the power of magic to make ourselves as big as the universe, because technically our minds is the universe. It's all connected. So if we view it that way, we could now become as large as the universe. This way we don't have to scare ourselves into thinking about how small we are.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, and I like to play with these ideas of magic because there are people that just don't understand. It's like magic isn't the whole abracadabra kind of thing that goes on, that we see on TV, and Hollywood always has its version of what magic is and what witches do, and they snap fingers and things happen. You could help me explaining this too. Magic really is our thoughts, our manifesting, uh, setting things in motion. And sometimes we could use tools, herbs and incense, colors, the way we uh, use different tools for different types of spells. Or if we don't have any of that, comes from inside. It all depends on how you practice it.
Yeah, and whatever is going to be fun for you. Like I said, I mean, I still do have a lot of the tools. I got a little attached to them, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But they were so fun and so beautiful. Now I'm a little sidetracked on other things, but I still like to bring a little bit of ritual in every once in a while. And you can use the definitions to kind of make everything a tool. Like for example, if you're dealing with old emotions with other people, then go wash your dirty laundry. And imagine as you're washing your dirty laundry, it's washing all this old stuff out. You know what I mean? If you're feeling like life is hard and you just like need a new foundation in life, go like wash your floors. You know what I mean? Get every little nook and cranny. Whatever cliche you can come up with what you're wanting to like invite magically into your life, clean or do or explore, learn whatever it is. And that also can be just as ritualistic and magical as drawing like a circle because it's all about the power of thought, aligning with your emotions and intentions.
That was perfect. I like that because I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, oh, they'll come to you and say, "Oh, well, how do I do this spell? How do I do this magic?" It really is incorporated into your everyday life. Washing the floor, washing laundry, lighting matches. Simple as that. Your problems go up into smoke and they're gone and dissipated. It's very small little things that we can do and add in to our everyday lives in order to practice magic. It doesn't have to be so by the book. And I talk about gatekeeping a lot. There are some people that are very much into Wicca, and if you, I'm sure you can agree with me on this. Wicca can be very ritualistic and very by the book, depending on who's practicing it. And they're saying, well, if it's not done this way, nothing's going to work. That might be true for people who practice that way, but for everyday people looking to put some magic into their life, it's not that rigid, it's not that structured. You can just incorporate it into these little tasks that we're doing every day.
Yeah, I think it's normal for people to feel like it needs to be something specific. If you came from a religion, that's kind of centered around it. If you did school, if you lived in society, people were always telling you exactly how to do things. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to accept the freedom that you can just like do whatever you want to do and it'll be magic. Like that is actually really hard for people to get over. It's kind of interesting to watch.
It is. And so hopefully if anybody is listening and interested in magic or you are a magical person, um, just think of all the possibilities that we can do. And that's the fantastic thing about magic. It doesn't matter what it is that you want to try to achieve, you can do it. And it's just a matter of your thought process, how you express it, and then how you get it out into the universe. Because manifesting is more than just consistent thought, talking it, using certain phrases like I'm going to be rich one day, and then constantly repeating it. Your words are going out into the universe, like you had mentioned earlier, motions, certain motions. And by the way, I don't mean to just jump in here with it, but it does relate to this. You do motions, and sometimes they're very obvious. It all depends on your state of energy. And in watching you, especially on a lot of your TikToks, what I've noticed, I started mimicking some of your motions, and I've started mimicking some of your stretching exercises, and I've started feeling really good. My body started to feel less tense. So this is a part of magic too. If we have, like you said, these deep emotions or whatever it may be, motion, the way we move, the way we stretch our bodies, releases this out and removes it from us.
Okay, you said that so perfectly. I don't even know how to add to that. That is kind of my go-to when I was lost a while ago was journaling, processing my brain. But at some point it became more like an obsession than an actual like relaxing spiritual practice. And so journaling kind of became movement, and through movement, yeah, it's like it changes how your body feels, it changes how your brain thinks, it changes everything. And it doesn't even matter how you move is the cool thing. If you just go slowly, like your body's just gonna find all these places where like your back's just popping all of a sudden and you're like, didn't notice that was tense, but
Yeah, and I appreciate, like I say, it's sometimes it is, imitation is the best form of flattery. 'Cause like I say, I watch you sometimes and I said, your movements, and I start moving like you do, and it creates something fantastic. And I'm glad you mentioned journaling because it almost escaped me. Journaling is one of the best ways of doing magic because all of those thoughts now goes through your body, the energy then out through your hand into words that are now on paper and now they're solid. This is a great form of magic. And again, very simple. It's just the writing. And rather than sometimes just writing for the sake of writing, if you put a lot more emotions into it and use that visualization of your thoughts going all through you and using all of that energy and then coming out into your writing hand, Now your magic wand is the pen, and then the pen is now going onto paper and it's solidifying your magic. This is a great practice as well.
Yeah, and there's like a million different ways to do it. Um, Oh crap, I had something I wanted to say. It was so important. Okay. I got stuck on journaling at one point because at first I was journaling for self-discovery, right? So I was essentially venting. And then as time goes on and I learn more and more, and I'm learning the power of word, I got really stressed about the things that I was journaling about because I was noticing a lot of the things I was worrying about or whatever was starting to come true. And I started panicking and I had to stop self-reflecting that way for a while, and it so kind of took one of my tools out of the toolbox because I was like, this is really contradictory information. But over time, I kind of figured it's about the intention. You can, so it's always a magical experience, but you can have the intention of looking for things you want to let go of. You can have the intention of declaring things you want to invite. You know what I mean? And so like if just in case any of our listeners are like, yes, I love journaling, but I'm stuck on it because that one really tripped me up for some reason. So I just wanted to share that. It's about the intention. It's okay to, you're not declaring you're venting just because you're journaling about it.
Absolutely. And so for the audience, I hope this here little episode kind of helped you along a little bit with just some small insight into magic, because this is just a drop in the bucket. Because like Lizzie told me, and we could sit here and talk maybe days or weeks on end about magic because there's so many aspects to it. But if we all just remember, magic starts right here with you and just what it is you want to do. You can make your own magic. While it's fun to go and learn how to do different spells or to use different tools, just remember it's not necessary. It starts with you. Practice it, do it, much like meditation, just like I always say, if you're not practicing it and you're not doing it, nothing's ever going to be achieved. So start your magic today. Do something that's going to work for you the way it comes to you in your mind. Set that ball in motion, set the energy in motion. That's all magic is. Lizzie, I thank you so much for being here with us. And I want to remind everybody that I have still have my Wednesday night guided meditations. Please join me Wednesday nights when I put out those episodes. But don't forget, Lizzie and we do our Thursday night sermons every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they are broadcasted live over Facebook and YouTube. And we also record it as well. So you can always catch the recording after. Please join us because we would love to have you in our little circle and you could ask questions and you can even join in. It's not just about Lizzie and it's about all of you. We thank you all for joining us, and we will be back again next Monday with some more surprises and maybe some guests. We'll see you soon.